Coming up on today's Browns Report, we're going to check out some remaining free agent targets for the Browns that Cleveland could sign. Now, quick little disclaimer, we're filming this during our live show Thursday, 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern, so hopefully no one gets signed. But anywho, let's check out some remaining free agent targets. Now, the Browns' current cap space, it's about $8.8 million. The cap's a myth. These numbers are always fluid, but use that as sort of a benchmark. Now, I don't think the Browns are going to make any more signings of notable players, but I also didn't think they would make any more signings 2 signings ago. So maybe Andrew Berry is really going to be even more aggressive than we thought. Now, he will have some extra money coming his way soon. After June 1st, he's going to get the John Johnson money and a little bit of the Jadeveon Clowney post-June 1 cut. Despite him already being on a 1-year contract, the void years, he kind of gets more money later or after June 1st. So the neighborhood of 20-ish million. He needs to keep some money to pay his draft picks. He wants to roll some money over into next season, and he wants to keep some in case a midseason signing has to happen. So our first veteran free agent target for the Browns, Frank Clark. Now, some buzz coming out of the NFL owners meeting down in Phoenix was that the Browns were somewhat interested in adding another veteran piece on the defensive line. And if that's true, Frank Clark fits the bill to a T, right? 4 years with Kansas City. Before that, he was with Seattle for 5. And the guy's not just an awesome player. He's a postseason nightmare for opponents. And if you want to add someone who had 5 sacks to your defensive line rotation, you do not have to twist my arm, right? Just imagine Dalvin Tomlinson, Frank Clark as your starting defensive tackles. Tomlinson can't really go for three downs, a series, 17 games a season. So you're going to need to have a rotation anyway. Tomlinson, Frank Clark, Perrion Winfrey, and Jordan Elliott in case someone gets hurt. That's a much improved defensive line room. Now, adding Frank Clark, I will say, could stunt Perrion Winfrey's growth, but it's win now mode for the Cleveland Browns, right? I'm all for letting some younger players get some much needed reps so we can figure out if they're the guy or not moving forward. But Frank Clark, I think, is just too good of an opportunity to pass on. If you can really add one of the better interior defensive linemen still on the market for hopefully a vet minimum deal with a bunch of incentives in there. Yeah, tell me this. Would you rather have a defensive line with Myles Garrett, Obo, Dalvin Tomlinson, or Winfrey? Or those 3 and swap Winfrey for Frank Clark? I'm going to go with Frank Clark. So let me know, should the Browns sign Frank Clark? Y for yes or N for no? We got a new graphic right there. Let me know if you like it. So that is the question for this video. It's also the pinned comment. So if an ad break comes on by, get your votes in down below. Our next free agent target, kind of backed by popular demand, is Kareem Hunt. Now, he has not been signed. He was an unrestricted free agent. And this past weekend, I did a video on whether or not the Browns should bring Kareem Hunt back or sign someone like Jerick McKinnon. And I've got more support for 27 than I thought would be out there. It's not that I don't like Kareem Hunt. I just thought, I feel like 2022 PD would be so mad at 2023 PD if I vouched to bring Kareem Hunt back. After last year when it felt like there were so many plays where nothing was gained by him being on the field. Not all his fault. The offensive line wasn't that good down the stretch. Play calling didn't do him any favors. Might not have been used correctly. But he does turn 28 this August. And maybe the Browns could be interested on bringing him back on a veteran minimum deal. He remains an unrestricted free agent, like I said. We'll throw some notes on screen for you guys to read. I kind of go back and forth on this, if I'm being honest here. Like, I at one point was one of the biggest Kareem Hunt fans out there, right? I love the possibility of thunder and lightning with Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, the RPO, get all 3 guys in the backfield at once. Like, that is a nightmare for linebackers and safety to diagnose pre-snap. But his rushing stats last season, 468 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. His receiving stats, 35 grabs, 210, 1 touchdown. He had 4 touchdowns last year. 2 of them came in week 1. The rest of them were over the next 16 games. So he was not the Kareem Hunt that we all were hoping, and I was hoping he would be with the Browns. He looked like he lost a step last season. Maybe that's all on the coaching. Maybe that's all on the blocking, the offensive line. And if those things are adjusted and corrected, he's going to be maybe not the complete NFL rushing leader. At one point he was with KC. But if he's 80% of it, that and Nick Chubb is obviously one of the best running back duos in the league, something Cleveland has had over the last few seasons. At the same time, what about this guy? What about Jerome Ford? What about getting him more than 8 carries for 12 yards in 2023? Seeing what you have in the former 5th-round pick, because Nick Chubb is approaching the midway point of his second contract with the Browns. I don't see him getting a third contract with the way running backs work in the NFL this day and age. So maybe it's a good opportunity to up Jerome Ford's usage. See if he is a running back who could take the torch from Nick Chubb in years to come. So there's kind of pros and cons on both sides of things here. But what would you do? Would you re-sign Kareem Hunt? RS for re-sign or P for pass? I'm ultimately going to pass. I'd rather roll with Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, and a rookie running back and let the 2 younger guys get some snaps and see what you have in him, then roll it with a 28-year-old running back this August. Next free agent target, we'll kind of lump these next 2 guys together. It's Matthew Ioannidis, and Melvin Ingram. So if we're doing a Dolphins video, Melvin Ingram was a veteran free agent target last year. They picked up right before the season started, and he was a very nice contributor for Miami. 6 sacks, 7 tackles for loss. You don't expect to find 6 sacks out of a player who you signed in the summer. So it does go to show signing some of these older defensive line veteran players, they can be very valuable contributors despite their age maybe being a bit of an eyesore here. I think the Browns are done in free agency, but a training camp signing could very much be in the cards with the pressure that it feels like is breathing down on Andrew Berry from the Haslams to get this year right. If 2 weeks into training camp, Jordan Elliott, Tommy Togiai, and Perrion Winfrey, between the 3 of them, if none of them look like an actual starting NFL defensive tackle, maybe AB says, F it. I'm not going to wait around for you guys to look like professionals one day and age. I'm going to go out and get one that I know is like Melvin Ingram, like Ioannidis, like Frank Clark. So that is an avenue and something to keep an eye on as we get closer to training camp. 5th and final free agent target. I had to get him back in his old Browns uniform. It's cornerback Troy Hill. He's also sneaky old here. Now, Troy Hill, if you remember, was traded from the Browns to the Rams during last year's draft. Cleveland picked up a 5th-round pick this year for him. And the Browns still need a slot corner, right? He's got familiarity with the team. I know we like to think when players move on from a team, or really a team moves on from a player, that bridge is burned or something. No, could easily see Troy Hill coming back to the Browns and just coming back with a 5th-round pick from the Rams. I mean, that's an ultimate win for Cleveland. They get the player and the pick. It's like an Aroldis Chapman trade right there. Now, his last 4 seasons, seesawing between LA and Cleveland, he hasn't been a spectacular slot corner, but you don't really have a slot corner on your roster right now. Look at the Browns' depth chart here. I've got Denzel Ward and Martin Emerson as your outside corners. Newsome sure as heck does not want to play inside again. Did not go well for him last year. There's no money for corners playing on the inside. It's on the outside. So if you want to make money and you want to play into your skill set, I'm sure Newsome would like to be moved to the outside. So if that's the situation, I don't know what Schwartz's plan is for slot corner this year. It's not Newsome, so maybe it's bring back Troy Hill, right? Could be draft a rookie, give him that job. But if they are all in on not leaving things up to chance and not leaving things up to the hands of rookies and going with veteran players that they know something about, Troy Hill, I hope you still got your place in Cleveland. Now, make sure to share today's video, by the way, if you enjoyed it. Tag me on Twitter at Matthew Petey. I give shout outs to everyone who shares our videos on Twitter. So help us grow the channel, get some more eyeballs on today's video. Share it on Twitter, text it to a friend, a family member, post it, share it wherever. I just want to continue to grow this channel, and sharing our videos is a really good way to do that.